Alright you guys, here is step one of shelf cooking. So this looks like a crazy mess here. So basically what I've done is to start, I'm pulling out everything I have in my freezer just because we have a side-by-side freezer, as you can tell. And basically what ends up happening is things get buried in there. I can't ever find anything. So I'm trying to pull out everything I have. I want to put them in groups by what I have, and then at that point I want to take the groups, take a picture of the groups, that way I know what I have, and then that way I can plan meals around this. And if there's anything gross and bad, go ahead and throw that away, obviously. So that way you kind of have an idea, like, okay, how many meats do I have, how many veggies do I have, etc., like snack stuff. So that way I can also organize the freezer better too. So that's where I'm gonna start. You guys, so I went in through and organized all the vegetables and took pictures, as you saw, of what we specifically had. So you can see, let me zoom out a little bit. So without anything else in the freezer, that is just vegetables, and that's completely packed on the bottom as well as some on the next rack. So that's not including any other food that we have to put back in here, but that's the food. I mean, it's all still good, it just needs to be used. So I'm just keeping a tally. Okay, so next I just consolidated this box down. This whole box is still remaining, but these two boxes just had this many in them. So instead of having, excuse me, this big Costco size package, I just reduced it down. That way we just have these pops plus this one here. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Update you guys, so this is just like ice creams and stuff. We've got little snack stuff there. We've got more vegetables, more fruit. This box, the Malona box right over here, is actually full of plums that got frozen. So that's what we're at right now. That's without putting any meats or breakfast food in there. So we're still going. I still have a little bit of room on the door here too. So we'll see how that goes, but I just want to give you the update. Okay, so here's the last little bit that I needed to organize. So I have a bag of coffee. We've got some Eggo waffles over here that might be salvageable. I've got 2 breakfast sandwiches here. We've got some Belgian waffles. We've got pancakes. And then in the meat department, we've got 2 pounds of turkey meat. We've got a bag of salmon fillets here. And then we've got a bunch of chicken there. Oh, and then one more thing which I found is some egg roll wrappers. So that's kind of like the last little bits. Oh, other than this, which is disgusting, there's just bags of raw fish there, and well, my husband was supposed to be eating them or doing something with them and hasn't yet, so they're just kind of chilling. I'm going to probably just put them on the door because I feel like if I put them on the door, they're pretty obvious. They're just right there in everybody's face. And then if he wants to get rid of them, because it sounds bad, he went and did some fishing, got the fish, but the problem is, like, some of the fish didn't taste very good. So we've been just kind of sitting there with it in the freezer. So the plan is either he can give it away to somebody, I'm not really sure, whatever he wants to do with it, but I'm gonna put it on the door either way, so it's pretty obvious that it needs to do something other than sit in the freezer. But this is the last spread here of what we've got to put back in. And then I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like when it's done. All right, back you guys. So sorry, these are ice packs. There's some fruit pops that are just kind of hanging out. This is mostly meats. I've got breakfast slash dessert stuff there, snacks, fruits, veggies all down toward the bottom, all the nasty fish on the door. Let's see if this even closes. Okay, barely. Okay, so here's the final result of kind of what we've packed in here. So we've got some like cereal, snacks, also extra like sauces and things up here. This actually says trail mix. It's only got one more trail mix in there, but it's got beef jerky in there. We've got popcorn and granola bars. We've got our pasta, tea bags, K-cup teas, sugar. And then this is like kind of like a baking shelf with like sauces and sugars and chicken broth. So that's where we're at there. Got our little tray of seasonings here. This is some more baking supplies. We've got this with our canned goods, cat food down here, extra snacks that didn't really fit anywhere, more snacks, tea bags, just bags in general, crackers and stuff like that, seeds, nuts, and more bags. So those are just kind of like the leftover stuff that we have. Outro for this video here. So right now I'm doing some editing on my shelf pantry organization / shelf cooking video. So just giving you a heads up on what's going on here. Basically, I just wanted to get everything organized to begin with, and that would be step one, to figure out what you have exactly. That way you know what is the next step as far as like what you already have to work with. So I actually have quite a bit of stuff already, and because my stuff was so unorganized, initially I wasn't able to really tell what I had exactly. So now that I've got it sorted out, the goal would be to go on the computer and figure out recipes that I can make with that, or just coming up with something that I already know how to cook based on what I already have. So that's going to be the next step. And then also the picture that I showed you last, that was getting rid of a red onion that we had that was kind of on the way out, and some romaine lettuce that was also kind of on the way out, and then some potatoes that were also on their way out. So either way, those things were kind of like about to go bad, so I just wanted to get rid of those really quickly. So that's how we ended up with our little burgers that we had. And that was able to get rid of some of those vegetables before they ended up going bad on me. And then, I mean, it was really great. So I guess the moral to this story is, especially if you're trying to cut back budget-wise a little bit, is, especially like food budget-wise, is to really go through all the stuff that you have, because you're probably quite a bit surprised on what you actually have in your own pantry without even having to go shopping. So the goal of shelf cooking is to basically go through your entire supply of food, just buying really the only things you need to supplement it. So like if you had to have some sort of sauce to go with the recipe, but then all the other ingredients you had, that would be what you're aiming to do. So that's going to be the goal, is to kind of work on what we have in our fridge freezer area as well as the pantry, without really buying any extra groceries. And I do have to credit some of this idea. It's not, I didn't come up with this, and like, I mean, some of it's common sense, and then some of it's the fact that I was watching Jordan Page. So if you guys want to check out her channel, it's funcheaporfree.com. She does a lot of money stuff as well, and like budgeting, and she does challenges every September, usually like a shelf cooking September, and then October's like kind of like they call it Stocktober, basically, where you stock up on things that you got rid of, which for me, I'm most likely just gonna go ahead and try to eliminate what I have the best I can, and then unless it's something that I'm gonna use all the time, like peanut butter or something like that, I'm not gonna worry about really stocking up on it or anything. But I just want to get rid of stuff that I do have. But I think the premise behind Stocktober is to basically restock things that you know you're going to use regularly. And not only that, but they are like, you're looking for sales. So if something goes on sale and you know you're going to use it all the time, then you would stock up on it at that point, and then you would have a good supply of it. That way you can go for periods of time with just living on what you already have. So that's basically what my pantry situation looks like now. Some of my favorite things that I've done in there is putting in those drawers in the pantry. I feel like that was one of the best decisions I've made. And then the chalkboard labels, those actually can be erased and reused, so that's kind of handy. So I'm just looking at the pictures while I'm talking to you because those are some of my favorite things, as well as the canned, the rack that like the cans can fall down on so you can actually see what you have. So I can list all of those products down in the description for you guys. That way, in case you're thinking about doing a similar thing with your pantry, then you'll be able to see where to get those products. And as far as the fridge and freezer, it looks 110 times better. We can actually tell there's actually food in there versus just piles and piles of stuff. The freezer is still kind of bad, but I mean, I don't know what else I can do with it, considering the fact there's just too much stuff in there other than eat it and get rid of it. So that's gonna be the goal soon, to get rid of all that stuff. But in the meantime, at least we know what we're doing here, so or at least get a heads up on like how much stuff we do have already. And I realized going through all the condiments and things that a lot of stuff had expired, and I had really not paid attention to that because it's like on the bottom shelf and we would really not use it that much. So I got rid of a lot of stuff. Like our door is pretty much almost empty now, which is feels great actually. Like, you know, when I watch videos and things, I'm like, people have very empty doors on their fridge. We are freaks because our fridge door cannot hold any more things. And then I realized, I was like, okay, it's because a lot of stuff went bad and a lot of stuff was like single use. And so I'm gonna try my best to like not get so many single use things or get smaller containers of them, because I feel like it just went bad and we didn't end up using it that much. Sorry, my face looks really terrible right now. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, the rosacea spots are everywhere. Anyway, and I didn't feel like putting on makeup because, to be honest with you, my eyes are like hurting so bad. So I'm like the worst dry eyes right now. So I didn't want to put anything on and aggravate it more. But so that's kind of where we're at as far as the video goes. But I just wanted to film some sort of outro because it just seems to go to like a picture and then that's it. But that was one of the first meals that we've made with the just using what we have without buying anything extra, and it went really well. So we're gonna keep plugging away at that, and hope you guys get some inspiration, and maybe you guys can look through what you already have too and then cut your grocery budget down by quite a bit, because you're really not having to buy that much. I was just so surprised that I had as much stuff as I did. I mean, I know that my fridge was packed, but I was like, it's probably just junk. Like, it's probably nothing of nutritional value. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like pretty much all vegetables in the freezer. So I have like a lot of stuff I could be working with in there. I just need to come up with something to do with it, especially some of the stuff. I don't know if I had a recipe in mind and that's why I bought it. I'm not 100% sure, but I gotta figure it out. But I just wanted to give you guys an update, and hope you guys found this interesting, and maybe you can either organize your if nothing else, maybe it could be a pantry and freezer fridge organization video more than anything else. So if you guys at least get inspo from that, that's fine with me. So just and get to see all my gross pantry and freezer situation.